your cast and crew who is with you for the world premiere of A Brief History of Family.
Yeah, of course. Today with us, we have the parents of the family, Wei's father and mother, Zufeng, Guo Keyu. We have the producers, Lou Ying, Zheng Yue, Wang Yiwen. And we have the director of photography, Zhang Jiahao. Wei is actually taking an exam right now, so he couldn't be with us. However, people ask me, where did Shuo go at the end? And today I have an answer. He is here with you. He's among you. So please welcome Sui Xilun.
If I may, I would like to open this Q&A with one question to you as the director and writer of this film. It has so many layers, visually and on an audio level, but also on a narrative level, that I would like to ask you for the beginning, which role plays the microscope in bringing together all these various elements of the structure of your film?
Actually, it's a very good question. I mean, in the very beginning of the process, I didn't have the microscope idea when I first conceived the story, but it did become a very important point in the development process. That was the thing that I ended up sort of focus on, and that sort of once I decide that is the perspective, a lot of things opens up to me from the visual design. You know, we decided to focus on this, as we were looking at the family through a microscope, and in that we have also this feeling of we want to get closer to these characters, we want to analyze their emotions and feelings, but we also are really, we care for them, we want to know more about them, but the closer we get to them, do we really know more about them? You know, this becomes the visual sort of design, and also with that, also the sound comes in. You know, the visual is quite more or less objective, but the sound becomes very subjective. So it's all at the end connected to the idea of the microscope.
How about translation? Is fine like this? Okay. So William White is translating for us English to Chinese. And so, thank you for this. The question goes to the family. The family as actors, actresses in this movie. What does it feel like to be in front of a camera that partly is a microscope, as J.J. Lin has just explained? What did it mean for you acting amongst yourself and being watched, observed very closely?
Hello. 我是图母，我还是图太太。但是如果在显微镜下细观自己，有可能我已经忘记自己的名字了。 觉得，好像，我不知道在座的有没有一些，比如说是全职的太太，他们会不会有这种同感？所以当一个男孩来到自己的家庭里，他突然感受到被在意了，好像还离感动差了一层。第一层自己在演的时候，更多好像有一点惊讶，应该忘掉好久，就是如果细抛自己的话，是这种感觉。
Thank you very much. Well, I play Mrs. Tu in the film, but I have the feeling that under the sort of intense gaze of a microscope, I sort of forget my own name, and I don't know if that's a common sensation to a lot of people who are stay-at-home mothers. But I also have the feeling that when this boy enters the household, I really do feel seen. So beyond the emotional level, I found it kind of surprising actually to see myself in that kind of almost anatomical way at first glance.
I don't know, you first, or maybe if I may do, the father in the family is having a profession that actually is also linked to the profession you had before, J.J. Lin, before you entered filmmaking. In the context of this family, how important is this particular profession and how does it feed back into the family life?
Uh, 也许我在演导演吧。我觉得可能导演希望赋予他更多的理性，让这个片子包括整体家庭的那个气氛显得更客观一些。然后我觉得我们对于镜头来说，假如我们成为了那个人物，剧情里人物之后，镜头对着我们的哪方面，我们就是那个人物。其实对于我们没有什么太多的变化，只是导演在叙事的手段上是他的风格。谢谢。
I think that's maybe more of a question for the director. I mean, my character is somebody who brings a more sort of rational view to the atmosphere within the household. But basically, under the lens, so to speak, we just are who we are, and it's much more a question of the narrative approach employed by the director.
Yeah, I think when we are shooting, I try to not to discuss too much of the camera approach with the actors. They are living their life, you know. When we are looking at a flower under the microscope or a petal, they don't know where they're being looked at. So I think it's just they're going about their lives as a normal family, and then we're looking at them, you know.
Shirotsun, as the intruder into this middle-class family, you're maybe as a character, one of the most enigmatic figures in this film. What was it like for you to have embarked in a new family, and how did you see your role of changing the family through your presence?
可能应该是先从跟土匪的第一次相遇开始，然后一次偶然的机会，我来到土匪的家里，然后看到了他家的氛围和土匪的父母，然后对这个家的第一印象可能就是比较怎么说，比较
羡慕。
对，比较羡慕，比较惊讶吧。然后随着就是跟这个家庭，更多 多频次的交流见面，然后可能会就是内心特别想融入这个家庭。对，由于言说他本身是一个单亲家庭，然后他的父亲也不是很爱他，他可能在原生家庭这方面比较缺失父爱跟母爱吧，然后可能再到后来更多频率的接触之后，可能甚至就是想寄生在这个家庭，甚至是替代突围吧。
I think we have to start with my first chance encounter with Tu Wei, and it's that chance encounter which brings me into that household environment for the first time, and I then witness the kind of atmosphere there, and I see what his parents are like, and that first impression I think leaves me with a sense of surprise, but also a sense of envy. And then after that, I gradually had more and more frequent contact with members of that household, which leads to me deep down kind of wanting to join it. My character, Yan Shuo, is somebody who comes from a single-parent household, and it's fair to say that he doesn't get much paternal love. Actually, in his own home, it's both paternal and maternal love that he lacks. And so, with that more and more frequent contact with this household, it leads me wanting to enter it as a kind of parasite, and even to replace the other boy, Tu Wei.
Before I would like to invite you to ask questions or to comment on what you've seen. Maybe one question to the entire guests we have, and that is this one-child policy. I think most of us would be familiar with how long it lasted in China and that it was over at some point. And then we have in the film an underlying reoccurrence of this theme. And for instance, when we have the encounter in the vacation with the family of Ma, and Mr. Ma says we've been following the new policy, a lot of people were laughing. So I wanted you to give us a little bit more of a background in how far this theme of how one-child policy has affected today's Chinese families, or a lot of families, was something that was for everyone a very important topic that this film deals with.
I will start, and then I can give it to my team. It's important. I think any social change is important. I think they did have a very big impact on not just the. I think in a way it's how we think about things. Like in this sense, we have been perceiving a family as this nuclear family, this structure for so long, and now the new opportunities are opening up. And now what to do? What I'm interested is this family and how they are now. They have the past behind and they have the future ahead, and what are they going to do? So I think in that sense, it's a very universal thing. And I'll give Ying to elaborate, maybe.
I think we do get asked this question quite a bit, but I think for us, this policy, of course, it's an undercurrent in the story, but it is pretty much a background to how the story happened. It's not something that we are sort of featuring front and center. And also, I think for us, this is more of an individual story to this family, to these 3-4 people. And I think everybody here can actually relate. It doesn't matter if you grow up in China or other places, because you have families with one child, you have families with more than one child. It's very universal, which is actually a theme that we've been the message that we've been getting from our audiences, both here and at Sundance, is that this, even though it's a Chinese story, it happened during that policy change period, but it is also a very universal story that everyone can relate to, so yeah.
So personally, I have some interesting story to share, because I think all of us know that as Chinese boys and girls growing up in China, we always have this saying from our parents called The Neighbor's Boy or The Neighbor's Girl. They always have like they're good at study, they're very good, they're perfect. And then this is a way for our parents to keep us motivated, but actually it doesn't do much good. And later on, when we grew up, we found out it's actually a lie. So that's how we, in a way, the one-child policy can individually affect on ourselves. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Any questions or comments on the film? Please, here's a gentleman. We have 2 microphones. One is Arrival.
First of all, thank you for this incredibly exciting movie. And I have 2 questions actually. There are a lot of things which go unexplained or unshown in this movie, which made it even more exciting. And I've got a question for the director. How much more was written, shot, and then perhaps abandoned in the editing room? Being an editor myself, that's my question. Because it's like incredibly brave what you don't show or what you don't tell us. And the second question would be to the producers. It's an exciting area of countries that participated in the financing of the movies, of the movie. How came that about?
So about the process of withholding, you just missed our editor. He left today. He was here yesterday. He would be glad to talk to you about that. Yeah, but the thing is, it's a process of eliminating things. In the script, I have a few more scenes written, even about Shuo's family, and we did the location scouting, but I was never happy with the locations that we found. Not in the sense like, this is not a good location, but in the sense of like, do I really need it? I always ask myself that question. And in the production process, I decided we actually don't need it. He should stay. We should be with the family in the sense of how we perceive him. Like the family knows only what he is telling them. So that's what we should be doing as well. And this is just one example. And then in the shooting, we shot definitely all the things I've written in the script, which is already kind of contained. And then in the editing process, we still have maybe like about 2 hours in the first rough cut, and then we had a few revisions. And I think the guideline through the discussion with the editor was exactly what you were saying. How much do we not say? I feel like the less we say, the more interesting the film is, and more room for the audience to come up with their own interpretations. I'm not saying this in a way to confuse the audience, but in a way to engage them.
I think I missed the second part of your question.
The second, sorry.
What was the second part of the question? Sorry.
The second part of the question was to give a production background. A lot of labs internationally were involved in the making. So question to the producer, how did this come about?
Well, basically, I think the film we have been working on this since like late JJ started with the idea, I think, in late 2016. And I think it's been a very long process. I think a lot of the labs that you have seen, I think for us, it's out of 2 reasons. One is out of necessity, because financing a movie like this in China is quite difficult. So we actually needed all the support that we could get. But also, I think on the second point is that creatively, it also sort of enhances our story, because I think JJ has a very international background, having studied at NYU Tisch, and I think the entire sort of team as well. And we feel like this story could actually sort of be a quite not sort of usual Chinese movie, which sort of led us to sort of working with our Danish and French composer, editor, colorist, sound design, and I think it really added different layers to this story. So to put it short, it's about necessity, but also it's a creative choice as well.
I'm very appreciate this movie because I think this movie depicted how middle class life nowadays of China, which is so normal to today's Chinese younger generations from my perspective. And I have two questions. One is for the director and another one is for the Miss Ke Yu and Mr. Zhu Feng. And my first question is that if there are some implications of the fish that Yan Shuo stared in the movie, why he stared to that fish for so long? This is for the director. And my second question is for the Miss Guo Ke Yu and Mr. Zhu Feng. What do you think of the middle class life in the movie, that people are intentionally make their elite life seems more perfect from others' perspectives? And that's all. Thank you.
So I will answer the first question with a hint. I cannot give you the answer, but I can give you a hint. So you have to think of the next scene. What Wei is accusing him, and to think like what is that dramatic question, in that scene. So when you think of those, you can get a sense of why he's staring at the fish. What does the fish represent?
我觉得每一个人都有愿望和应该追求更好的生活。其实作为父母，我们演的爸爸妈妈也是这个样子，包括我们希望我们的孩子成长之后也应该有好的生活。其实我们说用入侵好像这个词比较反面，但是其实它应该是一个中性词。它只是陈述一个事实。那么，延硕如果说入侵到我们家，其实也是为了，也是因为他有良好的生存能力，他希望在一个温暖的环境中，温暖而有阳光的环境中长大。就这样，谢谢。
I think everybody has certain aspirations in terms of the life that they want to lead, and that certainly includes the characters that we play as the father and mother in that household, respectively. And in particular, we want our children to live well when they reach adulthood. I would actually say that the word invade is normally seen as a negative term, but I think it should be used in a kind of neutral manner here, because it's quite an objective description of what is going on. Yan Shuo wants to enter this household because he has certain capabilities, but he wants to grow up in a household environment that is warm and welcoming.
It's my unfortunate task to end this Q&A here because we have to leave the room. Luckily, you, the director, J.J. Lin, said in the beginning he wanted to make a film that raises a lot of questions which are up to us, the audience, to get various answers to. I'm afraid we have to leave. Please don't forget to vote for the film with the audience.
Yes, we have one more little surprise. Tomorrow will be the birthday of both Zhu Feng and Guo Ke Yu. They're going on the same day. So happy birthday to them.
Happy birthday to the family. Yes, we were born on the same day, different years though.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday in advance. Thank you for bringing the
one more surprise. Yes.
Do you have the test results? Wait.
I'll call him later.
Okay.
We have gifts.
We have some small gifts
Yeah.
as you leave the theater. We have very limited number of gifts, so it's on a first come, first served base. And again, vote for us, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bravo!